Oh boy, here I go again. Extremely excited for another Mauboussin cheapie. Have you guys tried this one yet? Star for Men. It's out there selling for under $25 for a 90 ml bottle, and you've got to get your nose on this because it's a really great creation by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni. Find out all about Mauboussin's Star for Men coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. I was really excited for this fragrance and it does not disappoint. Although I've been trying to get my nose on Star for Women as well, which came out before this. Still have not been able to, but Mauboussin Star for Men launched earlier this year and now it's already at the discounters at FRAGRANCENET, linked in the info box, 90 ml for $22, and you're going to want to find out what it's all about. It's created by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni. I have high respect for this woman because she does some great fragrances, and also the brand Mauboussin. Nobody talks about this brand. It's an underrated jewelry house from France, and once in a while they come out with some of the best fragrances. When I first started my first channel, they had a fragrance that was selling at the discounters called M Generation. I spoke about that fragrance so much. It was an amazing woody, spicy, peppery, incensey, smoky fragrance. Turned it on to a lot of folks. People loved it. And then all of a sudden it was discontinued. Thankfully I have a backup bottle of it. During the pandemic, there was a fragrance that launched from Mauboussin, also created by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni, called Une Histoire d'Homme Irrésistible. I've recommended this one quite a bit. It went out of stock for a while, but it's now back at the discounters for about 22 bucks. Once again, an amazing green woody aromatic fragrance and spicy that for around $25-30 you've got an amazing fragrance here at the discounters that won't smell like a lot of other designer fragrances. You'll smell unique and at a value price. Really awesome release. And now we've got Mauboussin's Star for Men. So it's a 2024 launch. Karine Dubreuil-Sereni always does great fragrances that end up at the discounters. Amber woody style, and again, price, size, 90 ml for $22. Get it before they sell out. I think these will make great gifts. Christmas is around the corner. It comes in a box like this, and it fits in there. If you've gotten your nose on this one already, let me know. Put a comment down below. And also, I should say, the reason I jumped at this, I actually ordered it while I was in Europe, of all things, because somebody reached out to me and said, have you gotten your nose on it? It's selling at FRAGRANCENET. And I was in Europe for 6 weeks, and I hadn't been going to FRAGRANCENET because I wasn't ordering things. So I ordered this about 5 days before I left Europe to come back home. And by the time I came home, it was, delivered a couple days later. And I've been enjoying it quite a bit. And for $22, those of you that are starting your fragrance journey, get this. No ands, ifs, or buts, because it's $22. You can't get a fragrance for this price. It's not I'm going to tell you a little bit about clone. It's not from a clone house, but there are some reminders in here. So Star for Men has notes of amber, tonka beans, saffron, incense, olibanum, vanilla, cardamom, cedarwood, iris, orris, papyrus, patchouli, and black pepper. Does that remind you of something already? Let me know, put a comment down below. Let me pull out another fragrance from another house, also created by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni. So, I think this also launched during the pandemic, and it was at the discounter for a while, then it went on the brand's website, and now it's back at the discounters. This is LALIQUE's White and Black. What does this fragrance remind you of? Created by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni, to me, it's a budget alternative to LAYTON from the house of Parfums de Marly, this fragrance. So that's what Star reminds me of as well. So Karine Dubreuil-Sereni has created 2 fragrances now that reminds me of LAYTON for Men from the house of Parfums de Marly. LAYTON for Men is so damn expensive, right? I mean, I buy mine from the discounters, but still it's over $200 for a 125 ml bottle. But LALIQUE in white is inexpensive, and of course Star is really inexpensive, $22 again. So why does this remind me of LAYTON? Well, it has the kind of similar ingredients that are in LAYTON. So it's an ambery, woody, spicy fragrance, and also very powdery. Now, I'm not saying it's identical because there are some slight changes in here, but for me, an overall similar kind of a vibe to LAYTON is what I get with Mauboussin Star for Men. And those of you that are on a budget, you don't spend a lot of money, you like inexpensive fragrances that are quality, are going to enjoy this one, because again, it will remind you of it. You might think you're wearing LAYTON, but then again, there are some slight changes where it won't be identical. But for me, it's a really intense fragrance for a designer offering. But I'm not saying this is uber beast mode. It acts like it, but it's not going to choke you out or anything like that. It's an eau de parfum concentration fragrance. And again, wearing it is such a pleasure. For me, when I wear the fragrance also, there is a slight booziness that's happening, but also kind of a caramelly, sticky kind of booziness. The booziness is not overly strong. I don't get boozy from LAYTON, but I kind of get it from Star for Men. So there is a little bit of that happening in here. It could be something mixed together because they're not mentioning any boozy notes in here, but there could be some notes intertwined together, mixing together, that's creating this slight caramelly booziness, which I quite like in the fragrance. The fragrance overall is very powdery. There's not only Orris in here, or iris, there's also a lot of ingredients in here that creates a powdery effect. It's quite a dry fragrance. That is the experience I get with this one. But it's for sure ambery, it's for sure vanillic. There's vanilla here, but it's a dry vanilla. And it reminds me of maybe the vanilla in Parfums de Marly, Altair. There's a little bit of the vanilla in that fragrance that reminds me of the vanilla in this, but this does remind me of LAYTON with the vanilla in Altair. Does that make sense? So the vanillas are not identical because I believe LAYTON and also Altair, they're Firmenich perfumers, and I don't think Karine Dubreuil-Sereni works for that firm. So she could be ending up using a slightly different vanilla, but the idea is similar. The smell is not identical. So a great quality offering. Only thing that's negative for it is it does remind me of LAYTON. But this is for the folks that don't buy expensive fragrances, but that want quality offerings from underrated houses, because Mauboussin is a very, very underrated house. Not many people are speaking about it. Did you know that it's a jewelry house? I mean, when I travel to France, I see their stores here and there. I walk into some of them looking for their fragrances, but I never see their fragrances in there. I don't get where they sell their fragrances. I've never seen them. Maybe I've seen it at a perfume shop here and there, but not very often. Rarely I see their fragrances. But of course, they're at the discounters here. They are available and at a budget price. So next thing I'm going to do is smell Star for Men on strip for you, and then also smell LALIQUE White and Black, and then also LAYTON to compare the three together. I have not done that yet myself, so we're going to do that on camera. So first off is the spray of Star. Now, the other thing that's very noticeable for the whole LAYTON thing is the cardamom that's in the fragrance. So that's quite noticeable, but you'll notice that it's quite powdery right off the bat. It's a very powdery experience. So when I just smelled the LAYTON, LAYTON had a bit more tartness compared to the Mauboussin Star for Men. And then with the LALIQUE White and Black, I get more cardamom right off the bat. So there are not major, I mean, the DNA kind of reminds me of it, but there are differences that they are not identical. Because that's what usually happens for me. I smell a fragrance and it reminds me of a fragrance that I'm already wearing. But when I bring them side by side and compare them, there are definitely noticeable differences. This is usually what happens. Because you're smelling something that you think smells the same as the other, but it smells different. And that's what it happens. But overall, the experience is the same. And here, what I'm getting different from the Star for Men is that it's a lot more amberier. It has a kind of caramelly slight booziness that I like. And it's vanillic much more than the other two. With the LAYTON, that tart citrusiness gives me a fresher experience. And it acts differently, even though we're dealing with something like LAYTON, for sure, like the Mauboussin Star for Men or LAYTON. that is definitely a noticeable difference, at least on the strips. And with the LALIQUE White and Black, it's definitely a lot more spicy. The cardamom is really in your face here, and almost like the vanilla is in the back, and also the woods and amber is in the back, but the cardamom is dominating. So yeah, they're similar but not identical. I feel like that's what usually happens. Unless it's a flat out clone, it's not going to smell identical. So the inspiration for this fragrance is probably there. And again, both LALIQUE White and Black and also Star for Men are created by the same perfumer. And she basically kind of came up with something similar but not identical. So for me, Star for Men reminds me of LALIQUE White and Black, but it doesn't smell identical to it. And the same thing with LAYTON. It reminds me of LAYTON, but it doesn't smell identical to it. But overall, though, I feel like Star for Men is going to be perfect for those of you that are budget-minded. If you're an adult and have kids or sons that are starting to get into fragrances, I think these are going to make great gifts. $22 is a really great price, personally, and it totally smells like it's worth a lot more. Like, I would expect to pay something like $150 for this, and you're getting it for $22. And because of that, I'm going to buy a couple of backup bottles so I can use them as gifts in the future for some younger family members, because I quite enjoy this brand. Overall, makes great fragrances, and also they have some quality offerings for really, really inexpensive. And again, going back to the performance of this, it has great lingering power. It's pretty strong when you first spray it. It's got a lot of powder, so it's dusty, that kind of experience. So it might act like it might be a bit choking, but it doesn't stay that way. It doesn't fill a room up. So it's an eau de parfum, but not super beast mode and things like that. But a very quality offering. Again, thanks to the guy that contacted me on Instagram that told me that this is on FRAGRANCENET. I appreciate that you did that, and now I'm able to tell you guys about it and let you know so you can get your bottles before it sells out. Because last time I did a video on a budget fragrance like from Mauboussin, it sold out everywhere and they didn't have it for a long time. So I have this feeling that Star for Men is going to sell out. So get your bottles beforehand. And the thing is also, going back to the feminine Star from Mauboussin, I've been waiting to buy a bottle discounted. It has not appeared anywhere. So I hope that appears soon so I can report on it. If you have any info on Star for Women from Mauboussin, do let me know. And also let me know if you've sampled Star for Men already. Do you get the connection to LAYTON and LALIQUE White and Black? Or do you consider it a completely original fragrance? Anyway, put a comment down below so I can find out. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. One more thing I should say. Are you guys interested in a video of Mauboussin fragrances? I know a lot of their fragrances do get discontinued, so I can do a video on some of their fragrances that are currently selling, men's fragrances, women's fragrances, and also some of their discontinued fragrances. I'm just hoping that I can get a bottle of Star for Women, but we might either wait for it or just get that video shot. But if you're curious to learn more about Mauboussin and their fragrances, put a comment down and perhaps I'll do a video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.